Ellie, dressed to the nines, walked into a supermarket. She wasn't there to shop. She was hoping to meet a good man. She knew that bad guys always hung out at bars at night, while the good ones showed up at the supermarket in the morning. Suddenly, a man caught her eye. Without hesitation, Ellie approached Mike and struck up a conversation. When she found out he was single, she knew her chance at love had arrived. Ellie's outgoing and confident demeanor also drew Mike in. He took the initiative and invited her to join him for breakfast. Of course, Ellie didn't refuse. At the table, the two hit it off, chatting away happily. To outsiders, they looked just like a blissful couple. Neither wanted to miss their chance with each other, so they decided to go on an official date a few days later. Ellie was thrilled. She had finally met a decent guy. Just as everything seemed to be going wonderfully, Ellie suddenly sank into an endless depression. One second she was elated, the next she was mired in gloom. It wasn't that Ellie intentionally underwent this transformation. She had been diagnosed with bipolar disorder at age 15. Back then, she would spend whole days not wanting to get out of bed, lying there for a month at a time. Her parents didn't think much of it, assuming she was just sick. In class, Ellie always put on a positive, optimistic face and got along great with her classmates. But as soon as she got home, she would go back to lying in bed, as if she had lost all interest in the world. Eventually, she learned to present her upbeat side to others while keeping her depression hidden in her own world. But this way of life cost her many friends and the love she should have had. Now, with the date approaching, Ellie was still deep in her depressive episode. She wanted to show Mike her optimistic side, but at that moment, she couldn't control her emotions. The day of the date arrived quickly. Mike still had a smile on his face, but Ellie's was full of sorrow. Seeing this, Mike was puzzled. It had only been a few days, but the Ellie before him seemed like a completely different person. Unsurprisingly, the date went terribly. Mike couldn't sense any joy from Ellie. Before parting, he told Ellie he wouldn't be seeing her again, believing she didn't like guys like him. Ellie knew what he was thinking. She lied and said she was just under the weather with a cold, but Mike could tell it was more than a mere cold. A few days later, Ellie woke up suddenly feeling incredibly happy. Her world was filled with sunshine again, and an optimistic smile appeared on her face, as if all her unhappiness had vanished. She called Mike up and he agreed to another date after much consideration. Ellie began to carefully prepare, fantasizing about starting a wonderful life with Mike. But then, the unexpected happened. A line of dialogue from the TV stirred up the melancholy buried in her heart. She sank back into her somber world. Ellie knew Mike would be there soon. She tried desperately to return to a cheerful mood, to overcome her depression, but she found it was all in vain. She still couldn't escape the low, gloomy world. The doorbell rang, but Ellie didn't dare answer. She knew she couldn't face Mike in this state, and that she couldn't have the love she wanted. After a long time with no response, Mike lost what little hope he had left. Bipolar disorder not only cost Ellie love, it also cost her her job.